Yes, that win over France has reignited England's Six Nations campaign. Ben, Earl, I mean, how big a shot in the arm has that been for the guys?
Yeah, I think we're buoyed by it. I think we felt like that result and performance was coming. We've not felt like we've been too far off the last couple of games, even going back into the autumn and last summer. So great to get over the line in a big game, and then now it's like kind of making the most of that against Scotland this weekend.
You've had a week off from playing at least. What's it been like in terms of the training though, this fallow week?
Well, I think it's just when you have a week like that, it's important that we keep our feet on the ground. I think the coaches have done their best to do that, whether that's training us really hard or keeping us focused on what's to come in terms of the Scotland game. But we as players have been around the block long enough to know that one game, one swallow doesn't make a summer. So we're looking forward to backing it up this weekend.
You had the momentum after that win. Would you like to have played Scotland straight up, or has the break done you some good?
Well, I think when you look at a performance like that, it's actually littered with things that could have gone better. So it's always a nicer lesson to learn when you've won the game. So we had a lot of lessons to learn, and we've got a lot to improve on, and we've been working hard on that this week.
Finn Smith came into the team, his first start, picked up man of the match, and apart from the first maybe 20 minutes, looked very settled indeed. How impressed have you been with him and how quickly he's taken up the mantle?
Well, I've been impressed with him throughout for a long time now. I think he's made his debut in the first game of last year's Six Nations, and you just see him growing, whether that's for club or country. It's one of those ones that he's like every game he just seems to get a little bit better. And I thought him, Marcus, that tandem worked really well, and looking forward to seeing him grow over the next couple of games.
Scotland next, a side that have had the wood on you, it's fair to say, in recent years. Why do you think that is?
Well, I just think they've played a bit smarter than us. They've put a better performance out on the day. We, for want of a better word, have been really poor last couple of years against them, certainly since Steve has come in. And they're both games that we can learn a huge amount from. So we've watched those games back. They're pretty painful lessons, but they're something that we needed, and look, we know what it's going to take. We just need to go and do it.
Can you use that hurt as a motivation, as a positive this weekend?
I'm not sure use it. I think more importantly, we're at home. I think that's massive for us. Playing in front of our home fans in the maiden stadium we have is massive for us, and we'll try and get them off their seats as much as we can.
And for you personally, a bit of debate about whether you should be at 8 or 7. Does it bother you either way?
Not at all. Whatever the team needs me to, I'm happy to do. It's not even cliche. I honestly mean that. The people we play with, they're just such good players. Whatever number you're wearing, you just try and do your best.
Yeah, it's ridiculous strength in the back row, isn't it? And you've got Tom Willis as well there, your Saracens teammate. Yeah. Is that a good relationship, good partnership?
Well, we've played a lot together. We know each other's games well. We know how we complement each other. So it's a relationship that's worked in the past, and thankfully worked last weekend mostly. So yeah, look, Tom's been brilliant. I'm so pleased he's got another go in the international scene, and he fully deserves it. We've
seen a bit of needle between England and Scotland in recent years. Can fans expect something similar this weekend?
I don't know. You never really know how the game's going to go. We tend to be focused on what we're doing. I think the game's so hard now. We're all just so shattered that some of the needle goes out the door. But look, it's a big rivalry. There's no hiding away from that. And at the moment, they've got the wood on us. So we've got rights and wrongs.
Ben, great stuff. Thanks. Thank you.
Much.
I'll let
Cheers.
you get off.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, Ben. Are you playing differently now, with a bit of perspective, a bit of time?
Not really. It's giving less penalties away. I think that's massive. But yeah, I think I was saying this before in terms of the main thing, especially around the breakdown, like the way our defence is now in terms of what we've come into with the Six Nations. It gives you more chance around the ball, which I think really helps, especially as a back rower.
And a lot of rugby fans are now inking their Lions teams and squads and what have you. Your name is constantly there. Is that in the back of your mind at all?
No, I think for me, kind of, and this is what I said before, insofar as going into games just feeling just like an 18, 19-year-old, like you're just going in there to hit things as hard as you can. And I think I want to stay with that. Like that's a really special feeling, especially going to sport. And the way sport is now, like people go in with games with such heavy weights on their shoulders. You know, they've got fans worrying about their game. They've got, you know, press and everything on them. So to be able to come into, you know, a Six Nations but playing an England shirt with just a feeling of just kind of weightlessness, I think is really special.
Is the thought of a Lions tour though in the summer a carrot on the end of this stick? It's obviously something you'd love to do again, presume.
100%, but I think it's got to be earned, and what you just got to boil it back down to what it comes down to. And I think for me, I play my best when I'm just trying to hit things as hard as I can, obviously without penalties, but yeah, I think that's what it boils down to, really.
And it's Scotland next to hit as hard as you can. What do you make of them and the challenge of ending this losing run against them?
Yeah, it's a weird one. I didn't really know it was that long, but yeah, it's important. I think for us, first and foremost, we have to focus on ourselves and what we want to bring, but with that, you've got to understand how Scotland want to be, what they want to achieve out the game. And they've got some really special players at the minute. So yeah, it's a hell of a challenge. I think we're really excited for it, but yeah, we've got to understand how they want to be.
What does the rivalry mean to you? We know what it means to Scotland, but what does it mean to you?
Oh, it's massive. But again, it's at a new spot now. I think before it was kind of medieval England versus Scotland. Now it's kind of, Scotland are really good. They've got brilliant players. So it's deeper than that. They're very skillful. Russell, Duhan van der Merwe, they've got huge threats. Rory Darge. So credit to them.
We mentioned the recent defeats. Is there a score to settle?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a Six Nations game. We've got to make sure we arrive. And make sure we shut them out. I think that's really important. They score a good amount of points, so for us that's going to be a big challenge.
How big a factor could home advantage be?
To be fair, they've been brilliant. I mean, the noise in Twitter, you can't call it that now, Allianz, it's so annoying. The Allianz Twickenham, I think it was brilliant after France, and to see what it means to so many people, I think is massive. Even when we were out in Richmond afterwards, people's drinks just taste a bit nicer. Everyone's a bit louder. You've got to jump in their steps. So again, this week isn't about trying to recreate that. We know we've experienced that. We've had that. You should never go out and try and recreate something. It's about doing it again and creating a new feeling, a new buzz, and that's what we aim to do.